This year, 2025, is one of deep changes, and in some scenarios, society might come a little undone. So this year, 2025, step out of the matrix. Hello, how are you? I am Marce Carbonell. I am a professional channeler, and in these videos, I'll tell you a little about what the energies of each month will be like. As we wrap up December, I'll share insights on 2025's energies from Jesus, Sananda, Merlin, and other light masters. They predict 2025 will bring deep, transformative changes, marking a significant shift. This video guides us on preparing for these events. I want to inform you that in 2025, there will be significant changes and transformations, marking a before and after, even explosive for some. This video aims to share how to prepare for these upcoming events. Each month, I will share videos detailing the energies for February, March, and April. Having a complete map of these energies will be very useful. Additionally, throughout the year, I will be sharing videos for the month of February, for the month of March, for the month of April, where they will tell us in more detail what energies will accompany us in that month. But even so, having a scenario where we can have the complete map can be very, very useful. Let me tell you why. As Jesus Sananda told us last Friday in the live session I've linked up here, this year 2025 is packed with changes, filled with alchemy and full of opportunities, but it can also be filled with chaos, confusion, and challenges that might overwhelm us. So let me give you a little overview of the global scenario. Let's see what you think. Look, I'm going to show you an image on the screen where I roughly lay out the scheme they have provided me. It's an energetic outline. As you can see, in the first half of the year, or roughly until April, we have an upward peak that represents alchemy. In this first half of the year, the mage Merlin will be with us a lot, a whole lot if you want to be, and he will help you work on everything related to alchemy. Alchemy is the primordial energy that exists in all things and aligns perfectly with the magic of life, with the force of things. This means that when you understand the primordial energy of everything, we're able to generate and transform each thing, each situation, each relationship, even every moment in space-time to its maximum potential. There are no limits, but for that, you need to enter the language of primordial energy, which is something that Mage Merlin helps us with. If you're interested in 2001, in the courses on alchemy, if you're curious about the topic, just know that you have links below where you can go in and see a little bit about what it's all about. We have alchemy, where Mage Merlin expands alchemy. 2025 will enhance it. Review your alchemical experiences. And if you have already taken these courses or have worked on alchemy with Mage Merlin in any setting, know that this year 2025 will enhance and expand it. In fact, I encourage you to review the content or the experiences you may have had that are alchemical, because this year 2025 brings many factors into play. Moreover, I encourage you to review the content or the experiences you may have had that are alchemical, because this year 2025 brings many factors into play. So, throughout this first half of the year, we have an entry into alchemy, into magic. For whom? For those who understand the language of magic. If we struggle a bit there, well, maybe we get a little lucky and scratch a bit here, scratch a bit there. But really, if one understands the power and magic of primordial energy in things, we start the year on a high note with a lot of abundance, a lot of synchronicities, well, with a lot of magic. Okay, then things dip a little and we reach the months of May and June, May and June, May and June. I don't know how this can be developed practically, but energetically, it's a boom. It's like a supernova. A supernova is a star that has so much energy, so much force that it explodes. And from there, you see new planetary systems are generated. For example, a solar system comes from a supernova that, in its time, it exploded. So the Earth is here, thanks to a star from millions and millions of years ago. That said, it's like the energy of May and June is a supernova. It's something beautiful, something that creates new opportunities, but it also explodes, right? I say it's a strong change. So May and June are about strong change. How are we each going to experience it in practice? Well, it depends on our history, depends on how we are navigating it. Jesus Sananda told us in the live session on Friday that, as I mentioned earlier, depending on how you enter the year 2025, this supernova will have one direction or another. It's like there's a bridge, some gears, some threads that at the beginning of 2025, will connect to this explosive effect that's going to manifest between May and June. Just because it's explosive doesn't mean there will be an earthquake in your life. But on an internal level, there will be profound changes. How are you experiencing it now? How do you project this year now? How are you vibing right now? What are your priorities? How you're entering this year, 2025, is of vital importance, Jesus Sananda told us, because you're generating clack, 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 so that these changes that are coming will definitely develop in one direction or another. I mean, how lucky we are to pay attention to this first half of January, be present, and hey, where do I focus my energy? Hey, where do I focus my time? How do I focus on my health? How do I prioritize it? So, how am I living? One moment, going to stop. How am I living? Because this will bring about a change. Another one. Well, there are several possibilities, but it seems that there will be change. So, well, let's see where we're directing this. Then from here, we have the entire second half of the year, July, August, well, all the way to December. And as you can see in the chart I'm showing on the screen, we have different options. Not everyone is going to experience it the same way. So we have a very alchemical, very global first entry of the year, Yusan, where the magic is palpable for everyone. Those who understand the language of alchemy, hey, even more. And those who don't, well, they'll take something away too. There's a reward for everyone. But in the second part of the year, there will be a polarization. Depending on what? How has your explosion been? From the magic of life, understanding the language of the voice of your soul? Or on the contrary, has it been a cataclysm where the character collapses, but you don't know where to hold on because you might not know exactly the details that the voice of your soul wants to show you? From the magic of life, understanding the language of the voice of your soul? Or on the contrary, it has been a catacrack crack crook where the character collapses, but you don't know where to hold on because you may not know exactly the details that the voice of your soul wants to show you. There are two evolutionary paths, one ascending, where alchemy reemerges, and another descending, where we enter disasters. Thus, the realm of miracles and the realm of disasters depends on our experience. By October, things settle, but July to September may be tough for those misaligned with their potential. That's the 2025 outline. Then starting in October and November, things will start to settle down, but it could be a tough July, August, and September for some people who may have had an explosion that wasn't very aligned with their potential, with their soul's vision of what life is, with the seed of light they have inside. Well, that's a bit of the general outline for the year 2025. As you already know, I will be accompanying you month by month so you can see the details, every opportunity, every moment, and you can redirect things. There's always a way to redirect them. But right from the start, we're being warned that this is going to be the scenario. So, what advice do the beings of light give us to work with this year 2025? Alchemy? Well, we all want the big dish of alchemy, right? We all want it. So, hey, what advice are they going to give us? Look, on the Friday I mentioned, we had a live session with Jesús Sananda, and he already gave us a few pieces of advice. He was telling us, for example, to close out the year 2024 well, to take little time to reflect on how it went. Hey, 2024 has been a powerful year, right? Didn't you find it powerful? I don't leave same way I came in. I feel super transformed. There have been some tough times, but now I am so grateful. I close out very differently than how I opened, and I realized there were things I had overlooked. Has 2024 been a teacher? One of those who teaches with a stick, maybe gives you a little nudge on the backside to wake you up. But sometimes, a little push is just what we need, right? To get us situated. And it's very interesting that a year like 2024 happened before 2025, which is full of alchemy, because that way, hey, you get situated, you place yourself, and hey, things start from a different place. So take stock of 2024, close it out, give thanks, honor it. What is it that has brought you here? Perfect. Then Jesús Sananda also told us how to enter into this 2025. What I was mentioning before, he said, hey, pick an energy that you feel expands you. Each of us is expanded by a specific energy more than perhaps another, or it comes to us more easily. Did Jesús Sananda say what energy makes you expand a lot? It could be the energy of dance, of movement, the energy of unconditional love, the energy of laughter, the energy of humor, the energy of family, the energy of friendship, the energy of camaraderie, the energy of entrepreneurship, the energy of rest, the energy of meditation. Each of us has a moment when we're in a space, and we know that. It expands us, like we become a bit fuller on an energetic level. That's very interesting. What is it that makes you expand, Jesús Sananda? So practice it as much as you can. Practice it now in this first half of January. Practice it, because this is creating a shift. So that the strong change that's coming can be navigated from a different place. It's like a shortcut we might not have in March, so let's take advantage of it. You know, these are energetic themes and energy codes that can be really complex to understand, but they help us in practical ways. So you said in practical terms, how we enter into this 2025 makes a big difference. Just because it's the beginning of the year, I don't think that's the reason. It doesn't happen every year. It's just that there's like an alignment that comes together so we can have this little trick ahead of time, which is really beneficial for us. So this first half of January brings about good. Expansive scenes, even force it if necessary. Force it if necessary, but do it because then are seeds in fertile soil that you will later harvest. And I'm sure we will be grateful for it. Okay, what else did Jesús Sananda tell us? Jesús Sananda was telling us to listen to the voice of the soul. I told you, pay attention. What is the voice of your soul telling you? Start to understand it, to listen to it. If you don't have practice in it, learn to listen to the voice of your soul. Because hey, it plays a leading role this year, 2025. The voice of the soul always plays a leading role in life. But in this year, 2025, there's going to be a very big impact. You're going to find one scenario or the other, completely polarized and opposite, depending on whether you've listened to the voice of your soul or not. And the voice of your soul speaks to you in many aspects. And in those areas where you listen to it, you'll be in your maximum splendor. And in those aspects where you don't, 2009, you're going to the ground, you're going into the mud. That's what the beings of light tell us, they warn us. We have to go all in and listen to the voice of the soul. And this, whether we have more or less practice, help us realize the potential that can be behind it. A simple and practical way to put this into practice is to pay attention, even to the little things, to what you want to do. Jesús Sananda told us, and just like it should be from the soul's voice, it shouldn't be something that you don't truly feel comes from your gut, something that you genuinely want. What things do you want to do from here? And start doing it. Even if it seems silly to you, it sets a dynamic in motion. Like moving some gears, it's like training. Even if you say, but it's really not that significant, it doesn't matter. It's like a warm-up for entering 2025, where the voice of the soul and the voice of the persona need to align. And if they don't, well, there will be a crash. That's the idea. So, well, as much as possible, listen to the voice of the soul and pay attention to it. As much as possible, even if it's just a little, pay attention to it. You say, hey, I want to go to the other side of the world and take a trip that's the dream of my life, and that comes from my soul, because I know I have a connection there. Hey, well, maybe you can't afford it at this moment due to financial issues, scheduling conflicts, or family matters. Well, everyone knows their own situation, so what can you do that resembles it? It could be a little getaway to a nearby place for the weekend, or maybe it's about finding, I don't know, buying a book with lots of photographs of that space you love so much, so you can connect with it from a distance. It could also be watching a vlog from someone on YouTube who shares things about that place that resonates with you. Look for ideas. Be creative, but make the dreams of the soul a reality. Nurture the voice of the soul, because the more you feed the voice of the soul, the louder and clearer it speaks to you. And we care a lot about that. We need to be a bit strategic this year, 2025, because hey, there's a lot at stake. Okay. And well, this is what Jesús Sananda told us in that live session. I've just given you a little summary. I've laid it out a bit more schematically so that, well, it always helps to organize concepts. But I told you, Mago Merlin is definitely going to put in his 2 cents. And indeed, tell us that this year, 2025, is a year of alchemy. This year, 2025, is a year of transformation. In fact, it's a year of transition. It's a year of change. I think the good, cool years will be 2026 and 2027. I really see 2027 as a very beautiful year. So it feels good. 2027 is really appealing. But in this case, we're in a year of transition. And the years of transition, hey, they're also very magical, 2009. Isn't it true that walking is the essence of things? Not the place we arrive at once we've gotten there. And now what? Now what? I've already done everything. And we're in transition? And Merlin tells us it's a year where alchemy is palpable. And he wants to be very present. He's going to make it happen for us. And he suggests a very easy exercise. He says that this year there are going to be many challenges. That's right, there are going to be many challenges. There are going to be challenges before May or June, which is when we have that puff. And there are going to be challenges, of course, after that. These challenges are going to be more or less complex depending on how aligned I am with the magic of life, with how much I listen to the voice of my soul. Because if we know how to listen to the voice of the soul, then maybe the challenge won't be so complicated. Because we already have practice, and you say, oh, well, if I understand this, then I can do the other thing. But when we're not used to it, this challenge can be quite overwhelming. So he tells us there are going to be many challenges. What advice does Mago Merlin give us? He gives us a piece of advice that's worth gold and is useful for the whole year. He tells us this year, 2025, we need to break free from the matrix. That's the advice Mago Merlin gives us. He tells us that the matrix is a word that's used, well, it's already known. Many spiritual concepts. I don't use it often, but I found it funny that he does. Mago Merlin uses this word, to break free from the matrix, and it's a bit about stepping out of the global thinking, the global energy of society. Step out of what the character is used to. Step out of there. And notice that there's another way. Let me explain. He tells us, Pompa, when you feel like life is squeezing you a bit, whether it's because you're overwhelmed by a challenge or because things are happening on a social level. It could be personal, it could be social, it could be family related, it could be from here or there. But when you see that life is tightening its grip, he says to breathe. Breathe tells us alchemy is everywhere. It has never abandoned us. Transitions have been happening throughout the entire history of humanity, not to mention the history of Mother Earth. This has always happened. It has always been this way. So your soul holds the answers from all the incarnations you've had up to this point, all the wisdom you possess and store, and you've also richly inherited from your ancestors. All of that is within you. It's in the voice of your soul. It speaks to you through instinct. It speaks to you through that unconscious wisdom that puffs. It is born through you, but it is within you, and it tells you to breathe. It is born through you, but it is within you, and it tells you to breathe. And when you inhale, notice how the life force enters you. Look, I don't know how you can visualize it if you're an intuitive person and you like to channel, visualize, or perceive. When this image comes to me, when I connect with the life force, which for me is like that energy that unites all things into a single purpose, it's almost like a web with golden threads. That's how I visualize it. And it unites us all to our most sublime, most divine purposes, our most aligned purposes, all perfectly organized in this web. This web is like it overlaps us. Let's see, they are always within us, always connected to us. But sometimes, when we lower ourselves into the character, it's like we go down and leave the web above. So he breathes you in and rises up, visualizing as you inhale how you call upon these golden threads, and they come to you and lift you up. And when you exhale, breathe out the peace that they transmit to you. You take a few inhales and exhales where the first ones are to release tension. The first breaths, when we're feeling a bit trapped or overwhelmed, are sometimes just to say, phew, I'm back in the present. I breathe for a moment. I'm here on earth. I step out of the mind that's stuck in that loop. Bam, 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 bam. And then you feel it's the right moment. You take a strong inhale where you call upon these golden threads, or however you visualize it. Maybe you see it as beams of rainbow-colored light, or a diamond fountain, or whatever it is. It's all good. But it is the life force that unites all purposes. Yours, mine, those of the people we love and care for, the purpose of Mother Earth, and even that of this tree. Its purpose is to come out in this video. Why don't we unite in this purpose here and now? That said, now, you inhale, you connect with the life force, and as you exhale, you release peace, and so you take a few breaths. This may seem like a system for emotional relaxation, but it goes beyond that. It's an alchemical exercise, because when you align with this life force, You do it inevitably through the voice of your soul, through the genuine, primal strength that is within you. You can't connect with the life force from the character. That's not possible. It doesn't click. It's like magnets that don't attract, they repel. There is only that attraction, that union, when you truly do it from the voice of the soul. So when you're doing that, besides relaxing and giving yourself a direct emotional benefit, it also helps you energetically to tap into this voice of the soul and to enter the frequency of primal energy, and then to access the tools of alchemy, and then to connect with the key purpose that 2025 wants to deliver to us, which is a transition. It's coming to give us, hey, it's delivering it to us. It's giving us the alchemy. And in return, it asks you to tune into the voice of your soul. If you do that, it promises you gifts. And if not, well, it tells you that a big crash is coming, because those who do not listen to the voice of the soul will completely step out of the purpose of this year 2025. So, 2025 is a year that brings us challenges. It brings us play. We need to stay alert, and if we really do that, it will bring us rewards. I can perceive one of the greatest gifts that exists, if not the greatest, which is the complete alignment with the voice of our soul. What greater purpose could there be in your life than that? What were you born for? To fit to the matrix? What does the wizard Merlin say? You weren't born for that. You see, you didn't come to be someone who just fills space. You came to be someone who listens to the voice of their soul. And that can mean different things for you and for me. But if we do it, we will be able to speak the same language through primal energy and through alchemy. And we will be part of a fabric that connects us all in a common purpose. Even though it may seem like we have disparate purposes, the force of life, which is very intelligent, takes into account many things and many layers. Some of us will shape it into spirituality. Others will give it a different form. And that's all good. That's all good. What does your soul tell you? What does your voice say? Train yourself to listen to it. Train yourself to understand it. Breathe in primal energy along with the force of Wizard Merlin. It is a simple exercise. Just remember, you can write it down in your diary from time to time, or somewhere where you can see it often, so that you do not forget that the year is very long. And maybe by November, we will have forgotten this. Write it down somewhere. Breathe. Breathe the energy of life, and then you will have this reminder. And this simple exercise will draw you back to your original purpose. And from there, repositioning, listening to the voice of your soul can be a challenge, because it has layers, it has nuances, and in some scenarios, you may be better at it than others. But the year 2024 has been a teacher. Look at what happened in 2024. What took place? There you have the clues. You need to know what you need to reinforce or what you need to keep expanding. It's here in 2024. You just have to look over here. What has shifted for you? What has happened? What pieces perhaps still haven't been fully placed? It's the moment then. So this year, 2025, well, it embraces us. With power, with alchemy, and it also embraces us with trust. It's an energy that will also bring about the trust as we align ourselves, which might even surprise us. So let it surprise us. We will let ourselves be embraced by it. Our senses can be expanded, and my ability to create and project those things that are in my life can also be enhanced. In short, it's a year that can spark a lot of conversation. It's a year that marks a before and an after, especially with this breakthrough in May and June. So from Light and Consciousness, how can I support you in that? Well, I can support you, for example, through the Mago Merlin courses that I mentioned to you before. There are 3 courses. They're small, relatively practical, very practical, where Mago Merlin helps us understand the 2009 alchemy. Start with emotional alchemy, then move on to energy, alchemy, and finally universal alchemy, where we learn to project and attract all the things in life. Alchemy, as Mago Merlin tells us, is about turning the things around us into gold. It's something like that, right? He tells us that this is a symbolism of turning things, relationships, people, projects into their maximum potential. So it is represented through gold, through alchemy. Mago Merlin accompanies us from Light and Consciousness. I can support you from there by delivering the message and the journey of Mago Merlin, also through learning to channel. If you haven't done that yet, I encourage you to do it. If you're someone who is intuitive, don't be afraid It's a course where I teach you to work with all the light energies, and I also show you how to avoid dense energies from affecting you, whether by teaching you how to manage them or by teaching you how to block them from getting close to you so that you only have luminous experiences and can feel good. That's very useful, being able to channel, because what it gives you is the opportunity to be constantly guided by your spiritual guides. So of course, in challenging moments, that can be very practical and very useful. What am I going to tell you? I've been preparing for 2025 since the summer. Maybe I didn't know it exactly at the time, but they have been with me since last summer, that is, since August. A little before all the changes that will take place in 2025. For me, some of them are already coming, and I know they are strong. I will be sharing more about it throughout the year. Everything is fine, but in any case, thanks to them, I've been preparing for a long time, and because of that, I can truly feel that I'm entering 2025 from a different place. If this process is important for you too, I encourage you to learn to channel, because it's a process that we can all open ourselves to. It's a gift that belongs to all of us. This is something that belongs to humans, just like it belongs to any being of consciousness. So I encourage you to do it, and if you already know how to channel, and you enjoy connecting with beings of light, but you think you could go a little further at the beginning of the year, starting the launch of professional channeling. It's a year-long training where we delve into professional channeling. You might not want to dedicate yourself to it, and that's fine. You can still do it professionally. So there we open ourselves up to work on a bunch of topics. Well, I'll leave you information down below, and you'll see that I talk about everything from the types of beings of light that can accompany us to past lives, future lives. We discuss soulmates, twin flames, karma, the purpose of life. We talk about this, that, and everything in between. All the topics that concern and occupy us. Beings in transit too, of course, the energy of birth, the energy of death, the energy... Absolutely all the topics that concern us when we enter the world of channeling, or in the world of supporting others through channeling. We work on everything throughout the year and delve into it so that you can finish the training and channel like a true professional, whether you want to dedicate yourself to it or simply want to master this technique and finally feel immersed in this energy where doubts dissipate, everything relaxes, and you feel comfortable and confident. Well, these are the main proposals in which I can now accompany you from light and consciousness. Of course, life will bring you opportunities from all over the world. Well, these are the main proposals in which I can now accompany you from light and consciousness. Of course, life will bring you opportunities from all over the world. Pay attention and listen to the voice of your soul, where it leads you. It's okay. Follow your instinct, trust, and let the alchemy work its magic. The good luck we have is that we start the year with alchemy very awake, so it's going to be very effective. The action-reaction will be very quick, and that's going to motivate us and give us the desire to keep trusting, keep growing, and keep listening to the voice of our soul. So first of all, before I say goodbye, I want to wish you a Happy New Year 2025. What a gift the beings of light bring us. Thanks to their advice, we will be able to live this 2025 from a different place and have a great explosion full of new purposes and new opportunities. Not as something catastrophic, but quite the opposite, as something full of growth, evolution, expansion, and of course, realigned with the magic and strength of life.